This is old Highway 5, believe it or not. The old highway, back in the days of old Lynn Creek in the 20s, all of the highways leading into the area were dirt. They weren't paved as they are today, of course. But this is a piece of old Highway 5 that's still here. And this leads down to the town of Lynn Creek. Only thing is, you can't get there from here. The route to old Lynn Creek lies in stories and memories, and you can find those at the Camden County Museum or in the video Whispering Waters or in stories told by the old timers. There's many old timers that live in this area, and some of them were young enough that they remembered the town of Lynn Creek that disappeared 75 years ago. It was quite a traumatic thing for them, having their old town taken. This was a remote, isolated community that the residents had homesteaded and lived here for 100 years. And they were uniquely isolated. The only roads in were these dirt roads. There were no railroads. And their freight came up by a riverboat, steamboat up the Osage River. It was a riverport town, uniquely isolated and thriving for its time. The people of old Lynn Creek couldn't believe when an amalgamation of big government and big business came in and just steamrolled over everything. They took all these people knew, their homes and homesteads and town. Their whole way of life was changed. They ended up with money in their pockets at the beginning of the Great Depression, but there were also many deep feelings, mixed feelings, that there are echoes of that even today in this area. Many things went under the Lake of the Ozarks, many things forgotten today. But there are books and poetry and writings and pictures out there to recall some of the wayside places. Little towns and crossroads, perhaps with one store and a few families and homes. All gone, all forgotten. Family cemeteries had to be moved. The Union Electric Company spent a lot of money moving cemeteries, graves from under the lake to new locations up higher out of the lake basin. Many of those towns, one time I tried to put together a little poem using the names of some of the forgotten towns. The old town of Lynn Creek lies there in the deep, and Nonsuch and Purvis and Wayhan so sleep, and Gladstone and Irontown their company keep. The old town of Lynn Creek lies there in the deep. Of course, all those places, Gladstone, Irontown, Nonsuch, they were little towns and crossroads, maybe one store, but not old Lynn Creek. Old Lynn Creek was the hub community for this entire area. It was the county seat. Old Lynn Creek was quite a place, as the old timers like to say. It was a thriving town. It had 3 churches, 2 banks, 5 grocery stores, 3 automobile dealerships, courthouse, law offices, a millinery shop, photography studio, a bakery. It was quite a place. As my old friend Harold Floyd said, you name it, we had it in old Lynn Creek. I had the desire to capture the stories of old timers before they were gone. But we did interviews with more than 30 old-timers who all remembered the little town of Lynn Creek and had stories and pictures and memories to pass on.
Camp Carry On, it was called. It was 2 words, carry on, like the military command. Although some folks say that it was the girls that called it that. They all came from St. Louis, Kansas City, as far as Eldon by train. Then from Eldon, they had to carry their luggage back to truck from there to Lynn Creek. We Lynn Creek kids didn't wear shoes all summer. And when we boys went swimming, it was skinny dipping. That's how you could tell the tourists. Those boys wore bathing suits, and they weren't near as good swimmers.
I remember that old Lynn Creek was such a pretty little town. And one time my dad was there at old Lynn Creek and in one of the grocery stores. There was some lady that lived out in the country that brought eggs and butter and stuff to sell at the store. And she traded for other groceries. And so one time, my dad was in there and she brought this pound of butter in. She wanted to swap it because she said a mouse fell in the cream and she couldn't eat it. And she said, what you don't know don't hurt you. And so she went on about her business, and the groceryman, he just changed it a little bit and gave her back her pound of butter. He said, what you don't know won't hurt her.
I was from a large family. My father and mother got married in about 1901, and they had a big farm out on the Glaze, and they built a big house up on top of the hill, and they decided they was going to have a dozen children. Well, this came true. I was the 12th child that was born, and they told me that my father looked at me, and that was number 12, and made his dozen, but he told his wife, my mother, that they was having such good luck they couldn't stop on that, so they went ahead and had 3 more. So there was 15 children in the family. There was 10 boys and 5 girls. And I've heard my father tell people a lot of times that he had the only family in Camden County that could have 3 card games and 4 fights going all at the same time.
If I could